One of the sets that I ordered just arrived. Now I only got this for one specific piece, but since I have an entire set, I figured I should show you what's in it. Now this is the front of the box. One of the things that stands out is at the bottom they've highlighted that Mario's eyes can be in different positions. I've already broken the cells on this so to make it easier to get out on video. So when I show you the back of the box, that is why you see that it is already open over there on the right hand side. But that's the rear of the box. Now let's get everything taken out so that we can see what we've got here. Okay, so that's all the pieces. Yeah, seeing if I can identify what I'm looking at. I'm going to guess this is somehow connected, at the very least, to Mario's eyes. As far as figuring anything else out, this is obviously Bowser Jr.'s clown car. I'm not sure which piece this is. It looks like it could be, let's see, green arms. Oh, this is Yoshi. Okay, so bag number 4 has Yoshi in it. Bag number 3 looks like it is Bowser Jr. and his clown car. That is Mario inside of bag number 1. Oh, and there's also the Goomba in there. I can make out its face along with one of the question mark blocks. And so bag number 2 has the pipe and some of the environment within it. Let's see, what else is in here? I think this is a manual, probably a catalog for some other things. Let's take a look. Yep. There's a catalog and there's the instructions. And now I'm wondering what's inside the mystery box. This is probably something electronic that goes to Mario. Oh, well, there we have it. That is most of Mario. And it is electronic. So there are his eyes, which are not lit right now since he's not turned on. Oh, and look, it's Bluetooth pairing button and a power button. So that's everything that's in the box. Now to get this put together. Okay, I've consulted the instruction manual and thankfully it looks like they only have us handling one bag at a time when we're assembling this. I've also grabbed some screwdrivers and some AAA batteries. Mario requires 2 of them. Now in the instruction manual they do have you working in bag 1 exclusively for the start. So let's dump out its contents. And I'm just following along with what the instructions say, and we're going to get Mario put together. So the first thing they have us do is to put his batteries in. Now, already looking ahead, I can see that in addition to the batteries, there's also an app that is used for some features that Mario has, and there's a firmware update that I'll need to do. I'm not going to bother with the firmware update until the very end. Let's go ahead and put the batteries in. There's both the batteries. Let's go ahead and put his back in place. I believe this is the only time that I need a screwdriver. Okay, so with that in place, Mario can put his pants and legs on now. Now let's see if we can find his ears. So there's one ear. Here's the other ear. I think I can go ahead and put his hat on too. Let's get that lined up. And now he just needs his buttons for his suspenders. And that's it. Mario is put together. So looking at him, I think all 3 of these on the front, both his eyes, his eyes, his mouth, and something in his chest look like LCD displays. So to turn him on, I just press this button. Oh, and it speaks. So I can see the eyes. For some reason, the instruction manual, they show somebody playing with it and bouncing it. Oh. Makes a sound effect whenever you do that. Okay, I'm going to come back and figure this out later. Let me turn him back off. There we go. So it animates him closing his eyes, and then it's turned off. So Mario's put together. Now let's go on to the next thing that they were showing how to assemble, which was one of the Goombas. First I need to find the Goomba feet. Okay, so here's the feet. The Goombas are made using these gray blocks. So there's one of the gray blocks put in place. It's not really a wrong way to put these on because it only fits in one orientation. Oops, I've just made it fall apart. Let's put both pieces back in place. Okay, here we go. Left, right. Okay. That makes for the body of the Goomba. There's a face piece in here somewhere. So there's the face. Those are, sort this out some. So the face, that thing with the barcode looking part, that's going to go on the top. Not the piece I'm looking for. Okay, let me go ahead and do this. The barcode goes on the top. Face goes on the front. I really wonder what this barcode is for. Oh, actually, I think I see what it's for now. So there's another square piece that goes on the back. And now, let's see. Okay, so those two pieces in the back are near identical to each other. So starting off, I'm going to stick these together using that bar, connecting them on either side. Oh, by the way, I did find out what the barcode on top of the Goomba and the question mark block are for. There's actually an optical sensor on the bottom of Mario, so it looks like it's going to be able to recognize whenever it's on top of certain pieces or on top of certain boxes. But we'll look at that at the end. Now, just continuing on. Let's see, these pieces will go on one of the blocks. I'm just going to conform to the instructions here. Of course, you don't necessarily have to do that. Oh, I missed a piece. Hold on. I missed two pieces, actually. That said, it turns out when I laid everything out, there are some extra pieces in here. So when you don't use everything, don't worry. That's not a problem. That is by design. Like there's an extra ear for Mario. I guess they figure that you might end up losing that. So let's see, with that in place, now we can put the grass on top. And it looks like grass is also another surface that Mario will react to. So let me see, which way does this go? This goes to the back. This is going to end up being a hinge piece. In the instruction manual, they did put a flower on here, so let's go ahead and do the same. Now that hinge piece back there is for the attachment of the bush. So to put the bush in place, let's see. I need to first put those two pieces together. And then with those together, I can stick this to the back of the bush, somewhere in the center. And now I can put it into the hinge. Okay, and so there we go. The bush is now in place. Okay, continuing on with another piece. This is when we're going to take the large blue and this circular green piece. If I can get the orientation right, that goes into the center. Here we go. So you should have 6 dots on either side of that if you've done it correctly. I'm not sure what the blue cap represents, but in the instructions they do put a blue cap on one side. So now, if you turn this around, all of these pieces end up going underneath our grass. So that's what the orientation of this is now. The other green piece is at a slightly lower level. And then we have a ramp that goes on this. Okay, this is starting to take form. Now we get to put our sign together. The sign is really simple. It's just put together with 3 pieces. So we have the cylindric piece, we have the square piece that has the peg at the front, and then this peg goes into the sign that we can stick on here. And I will take my sign a little bit. There it is in place. Next thing is a question mark block. So of course, take the 2 blocks, orient them so that the question marks are facing the opposite end. I'm going to put the bottom on first. I might not strictly be following the manual at this point. Put the barcode on top. And then I can use that clear rod along with one of the other, I don't know what you call these, the dot pieces. Oops. Oh, I've done something wrong. Let me fix that. Dot piece actually goes on the bottom of the question mark block. And then I put the rod in there. And then I can stick it over here. And at that, I'm done with the assembly of that little patch of ground. And we have some extra pieces left over, but like I said, that is expected. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in a bag, set this assembled part to the side, and then we'll move on to the next part of this assembly. I'm now assembling the parts that were inside of the second bag. So once again, I've arranged these pieces just so that they are easier for me to find. The first thing I'm going to put together is going to be the fairly obvious piece, and that's going to be the pipe. So that's going to be most of these green pieces that we have laying about. So to start off, we take 2 of the blocks that have 8 dots on them. One of these days I'm going to look at what these are actually called, because I'm pretty sure that they either have a formal name or a recognized name. But then start topping these off. I'm going to go ahead and put the barcode piece in the center. Notice that on these flat pieces, they are perpendicular to the other blocks for more stability. And so that makes the bottom of the pipe. And then we can just fit the rest of the pipe around there. And that's it. We have the pipe assembled. Now, moving on to another piece, just following the order in the instruction manual. Let's do the flag next. Flag is pretty simple. So we have the brown piece. And okay, there we go. I put that post in place. That is where the flag is going to go. There is a barcode that's associated for it. I don't think the orientation of this barcode matters, but I try to keep putting in fairly the same orientation. Now let me put the flag itself on the pole. And then the pole gets capped with a small dot piece with a round sphere that goes on top of it. So let's try that again. I can get that lined up just right. Okay, there we go. So it actually goes through the round piece and into the sphere. Okay, now we have the flag put together. And I'm sorry, you haven't been able to see that. Let me move that where you can see it. So there's the flag. Let's set the flag and a pipe in the background so I can concentrate on the other pieces. Now this is going to be one of the fire pieces, so let's see how we put this together. We're going to take the red square there, and then the three of these look like springboards. That's what I'm going to call them. So I'm putting the springboards on 3 of the 4 edges. So then on the other edge, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to have 4 of the dots underneath this to put those in place. Okay, we're going to have a circular piece that goes on the end of the extended piece. This part that almost looks like it's geared goes in the center. I am guessing that I'm going to be able to rotate the piece that goes on top of here. So there's going to be a circular piece that goes on top. It has an 8 dotted brick that goes in the center. And then we take 2 of these 2 dotted pieces and put them on either side. And with that put together, this is going to sit in the center. Okay, so it snaps into place and it does rotate. Now on to the next part. We're going to take this long flat piece. Let's see, what did it need? I take another small flat piece that has 2 dots and put that on the end. So then the cradle shaped piece goes in the center. And then another one of the flat pieces with 2 dots goes on the end. So this cradle is going to be sandwiched between these 2 other small flat pieces. Let's put our bar-coded piece on. It goes on the other end here. The thing that gives me the right amount of space. Now in the center of this, we're going to be putting a round piece. I always have issues with getting the orientation of the round pieces right. Let's see. Now let's do it this way. There we go. And this gets bridged. And okay, I see what I'm missing. So we have more of the extended 2 dot pieces that go on either end. And then the dots on these get capped off. Then we have these 2 curved pieces that go through the center. I'm not sure what these do. But now with that assembled, it goes on top of the other piece. And now I see what these do. These are helping to hold this down. That snapped in place, we now have this other piece that rotates. That's everything for that bag. After putting that bag together, I have this 1 yellow dot that's left over. Maybe I left that out because there's no part of that actually uses a yellow dot. But it's once again an extra piece. I'll put it in a bag until I figure out where I will put it. And this can go into the background. I've now moved on to bag 3. Now, bag 3 has a smaller bag within it that had some of the other smaller pieces. It contains the pieces for putting together Bowser Jr. and his clown car. Now, he seems to have a lot more pieces than many of the other parts did, so I think I've separated the pieces out, so everything that is laid out in front of the camera should now only be the pieces that are used for putting Bowser Jr. together. So I will see how well of a job I did of separating these pieces. We're going to start off with his feet, which are right there at the center. So on the feet, we put one of the small gray round pieces. And then on either side of that piece, we start off by putting one of the 2-dot rectangular boxes, and then we do it again with the 2 dots that have the holes in them. Now these holes, that's going to be where his arms attach. You see on the back, we put this white piece, and on this white piece, just notice that it also has 2 dots that are facing out. That's very important that you have that facing the right way, because that's going to be needed to attach his shell to his back. On the front, we put a blue piece. Why is it blue? I do not know. It might not matter because I think this is going to be covered up. But a blue piece, and then another one of the dots on top of it. So that makes up the main core of his body. Now, continuing on to some of the pieces that are going to form his head. So let's see, we can put this in place, the part that is green. Okay, now this is going to be for his ears and his face. So one of the beige pieces with the 3 dots sticking out of it go on the left, another one goes on the right. We can go ahead and put his arms in place. So they just stick through the holes. If I apply it with enough force, there we go. Other arm. Okay, so now both of the arms are in place. Now there's a red piece that goes in the front. Once again, I think the color of that piece doesn't really matter because I don't think you're going to be seeing it. And then these pieces get braced with a flat brick that has 3 dots on it. And now we're putting on what I think are going to be the ears. So this piece is a little unusual because you can see that it has a lip on one side. Where that lip is, that is where the pointed piece for the ear is going to go. Well, I say ears. These are probably horns, not ears. But of course, there are 2 of those. And then they can go on the, make sure the orientation is right. Yeah, so that's the front. So these go in the back on top of the other green piece. Of course, with the horns or ears, whichever you want to call them, facing outwards. Now this gets filled in with this last brick that has 1 dot on it, and then we brace it with another flat piece. Okay. That forms the back of Bowser Jr.'s head. Now let's start putting his face in place. So his face is they have this other green brick with 3 dots that has his eyes printed on it. So that's pretty easy to figure out. Oops. We're also going to be putting the shell on here too. So the shell just has a flat 8-dotted brick that goes in the center. And so with that, go ahead and put it on the back. Oh, and also on his back, one of the barcodes goes on there, so I'll just put that in. And now that that's in place, that piece is never coming out. This is one of those permanently attached pieces. So now we can put his mouth in place. So there's his mouth. Now it looks like Bowser Jr. And we can put on his mask or bandana or whatever you call that. Now what am I missing? I did not lay some other pieces out that I'm going to need. So on his head, you need to put 2 of the flat pieces. So another flat piece that has 1 dot that's in the center. And so that's where his hair is going to be. So we put a single dot piece on there, and then on top of it his hair goes, where it's basically a triangle piece that is slanted forward. The only thing that I'm missing is there are some pieces that go onto the sides of his cheek. So let's see, I think that is these pieces. Yep, that's it. And so now we have Bowser Jr. put together. Let's go on to his clown car. This is all part of bag 3, and I said earlier that bag 3 seems to be one of the more involved pieces to assemble. So hopefully I have all the pieces laid out correctly. You might be able to make out which pieces make up the fence, or the fist, the car itself, the propeller on the bottom, and of course it has its own barcode. So let me start putting these together. So it wants me to start off by putting some corner pieces on. So there we go. With both of those corner pieces on, I take this other gray piece that is 4 dots wide but only has 2 dots on the top, and that's going to be used to brace these two pieces together. Now we're going to brace these two pieces to the front part of the clown car using this other part that has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a 12 dotted flat piece. And that makes up the base of the clown car. Let's see, it wants me to put one more brace on here. This time we have a 6 dotted flat piece with all the dots collinear. And now we put the face in place. I'm going to turn this to the side so you can see what's going on here. There's these other pieces that have only 2 dots on them. It looks like part of its function is to hold the face piece down so it doesn't come off. So when I put it in, you can see there's a small part that protrudes and holds the face in place. So it is yet another bracing piece. Now we have these L-shaped pieces. These are going to go beside the face. Where's the other one? Here it is. So those go beside the face, but then on the sides I also have to put in these pieces that have the ball and socket joint. These are going to be used for attaching the fist. Now in the center of the bottom, this is also where the barcode is going to go. Before I put that in, let me put in a few more of the bracing pieces. So a 3-dot black strip on the left, 3-dot black strip on the right, and then the barcode in the center. And once again, that looks like one of those pieces where once it is in place, I don't think it is ever coming out. Now I need to brace the ball and socket joints in place. And then we can put up the walls to the side of the clown car. Okay, this is starting to take form. So there are some other corner places that we can put in place on the back edge. And I am still missing something. What am I missing? I am missing a piece that goes in the center. Okay. So now we have the walls of the clown car. Next, there's going to be 4 of the 4 dotted strips that go around the edges. So these are both the top rim, and they also look to be yet another brace. And now we can cap these off. So each one of the 4 corners have these flat angle pieces that go in place. And then there's going to be flat edges that go between them. Okay, the clown car assembly is actually going faster than I thought it would. Maybe it's not as complex as I thought it was, or maybe that's attributed to laying out the pieces ahead of time. Now, while I looked at the instructions for this part, I have to say that I did find this part confusing. You know what? I'm going to skip over that and come back to it. Let's put the propeller in place. So for the propeller, you have this piece. Just stick it through, and that's it. Now the propeller is where it should be. It just goes on the bottom between the 4 pieces. And just hold it up. Let's bring this back into view, because that's where it's going to be resting anyway. Now for the fist. I wasn't looking forward to this piece because it looks like it might be a little bit more complex. Okay, so take one of the circular pieces and I put a socket piece on there. Now on one part of the socket, you have to put one of the dots. And then what orientation does this have? Guess it goes over that edge. Another one of these pieces goes perpendicular to that. And then the second piece goes perpendicular. And then we cap that off. Oh, so that's it. That is one of the fist pieces. Let's do the other one. Now I'm assuming this should have mirror orientation. Where'd the dot go? The dot went in the back. So that means that this part faces to the front. This goes to a side. This is this piece. But I feel like I'm missing something. Yes, I am. I've done that wrong. Let's take out these side pieces. And I put a dot off with it. You know what? I guess it didn't matter. Could have left the dot on there. Dot goes here. This piece goes on top of the dot. Let's take this off and put it. I'm still missing something. What am I missing? Or I'm doing something wrong. Okay, let me take this apart and try again. Okay, so I have the round piece, I have the socket. I know what it is. The dot goes on a round piece. Okay, so I think I've got it this time. The dot goes on a socket, and then one part of the fist goes on a socket too. So then we can put the other 2 pieces perpendicular, resting on top of those 2 pieces we just put on. Okay, I think that's correct. And then it gets capped off. Okay, so those are both of the fists. Go ahead and put the edges on each side of the face. Now I should be able to put the fist in place. There we go. There's one fist. There's the other. Now let's see, do I actually have this on here correctly? Nope, I don't. I've got them on reverse. This one goes on the left side, so that piece is sticking up. It goes on the right side, so that piece is sticking up. Okay, so now I have the clown car together, and I've already put the propeller in place. So that completes the assembly of the clown car, where, of course, Bowser Jr. kind of fits inside there. I think he's more balanced in there. He doesn't actually He doesn't actually fit, but he's just sitting in there. So he doesn't actually fit, but he is just sitting in there. I'm on to the last bag. This is bag 4, and this is putting Yoshi together. Once again, I've gone through the instructions and I put the pieces in a place where I feel like I should be able to get to them fairly rapidly for putting this together. So let's start out with his feet. His feet are the orange piece that you see close to the center of the screen. So that is our starting point. So we put this L-shaped bracket on the front. There's another flat piece that goes on the back. And so that makes for his base. Now this ends up getting braced with another flat square piece. And now we put the pieces in place that are going to be holding his arms. So on the left and on the right, making sure that the holes face out. Now for attaching his tail, there is another L-shaped piece. It's going to be this one. So just make sure that the part that has the holes on it is facing out. I mean, heck, where is his tail? Because that is, there it is. So some pieces are easy enough to just go ahead and attach. Go ahead and attach now. So put the tail on, make sure that the flat end is facing up. And might as well put the arms in place. The instructions don't say to do this yet, so I might be making a mistake in doing that now. But I feel confident enough to go ahead and do that. Now we can go ahead and start putting his saddle in place. So let's see, what pieces do we need for doing this? Now this is, I feel like my instructions, okay, I see what's going on. The instructions show this in different orientation. So we need these 3 round pieces. These are going to form the saddle. So the way this goes is, this is the foundation. On top of the foundation, no, that's not, that's the top. So on the top, I end up putting this piece and caps it off. Now I take the little white piece, stick it on there, and it should go through the hole, and it does. And so that is his saddle, and so we can go ahead and put that on his backside. And so now this is starting to roughly become Yoshi shaped. Next, we can put on the white pieces that form the front of his chest. So the flat piece goes on the top, the slightly curved piece goes on the bottom. Now this is a point at which the instructions say to put on the arms, which of course I've already done, so we're not going to worry about that. We are going to put this 2-piece strip that also has a brace extension on it in place. So that's going to hold Yoshi's chest in place to keep it from coming off. Next we get to assemble the head. So for the head, we're going to take this L-shaped piece. And let's see, there's going to be 2 of these bricks that have 2 dots coming out of the side. They go on either side of the L-shaped piece. Another L-shaped piece goes on the back end. Now choosing one end of this, because right now it is pretty much symmetrical. We're going to put these 2 flat pieces that have the dots in the center of them. In the center of these dots, I don't know what you call it, the little spikes or spines that come out of the back of a dinosaur's neck, but that's what those are holding. I mean, I associate those most strongly with the Stegosaurus, so if you know what those are called, call that out in the comments. The other side of this is going to have his mouth. You can tell which piece is the top of his mouth and which piece is the bottom, because the top piece has nostrils on it. Otherwise, these pieces are perfectly identical. Now to finish off his nose, there's these 2 curved pieces that we put on the front. And then we can put his eyes in place just behind those. So there we go. We've got Yoshi's face now. Now I've got to put his face on his head, so it just sits on top of the white pieces. And so there we go. Yoshi's put in place. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to put his cheeks on him. He does not look right without his cheeks. And once again, I always have problems getting the little round pieces oriented correctly. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Oops, this head came off. Put it back on in a second. Might as well put this round piece back on and put his head in place. I feel like his head is probably going to be coming off a lot. Now, they gave him an apple. They did put a stem on the apple, so if he wants to hold his apple, it can fit through his hands and it will stay there. Now, oops. Not quite done with the assembly yet, because Yoshi does also get a little piece of real estate to sit on. So let's go ahead and put that together. We need to have this brick that has the 12 dots on it. There is a log that goes in the center that I think functions as a table. So let's put the top on a table. Actually, it's not in the center. It has to go off to one side or the other. Let me fix that. And he gets a cup to go in the center of his table. On the other side, that's where the barcode goes. Let's brace it to this little strip, this little piece of land for him to sit on. Now he gets a flower to go on here. And opposite of that, there's another strip that goes in place for Mario to sit at. So let's see, did I do that correctly? No, I didn't. Let's fix that. Just a small adjustment. Okay, so now Yoshi has his place, and if we wanted to attach Mario, oops, I've knocked him off. You know, I did do something wrong here. You know what, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this the way that it makes sense to me. If I keep his table over here, then he can sit there. And okay, now the barcode is available to Mario. And I have some extra pieces that are left over, so these can go in the bag with the rest of the extra pieces. Now I need to take a look at the app that's available for this thing and figure out how it works, because I think Mario needs to have a firmware update and needs to be paired with the app. So let me get that installed and see how that works. I played around with this a little bit more, and now I understand a lot more about how it behaves. So I will show you. Mario has a few ways of interacting. First, I'm going to turn him on by pressing the power button. It's on the back side. So underneath Mario, first thing I'll point out is there is actually a light sensor there, and it does have some lights that illuminate whatever surface it's on. So Mario will react to being set down on Legos of certain colors. So let's see, if I set them on blue, yep, then it makes a sound for water. Green, I think that's just a regular jumping noise. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Legos, it can be any color. So I have this color correction card here. So if I set him down on surfaces here, I haven't tried this before, but let's see, here's a dark blue. Doesn't react to the dark blue. This teal, no reaction. Let's try red. Okay, red, he's reacting as though it's fire. And I will get some other audio recordings of this so that you can hear it better. But so it responds to being set down on Legos of various colors like that. I can't, does it have a motion? So, okay, it does have a motion sensor in it because, yep, if I shake it, then it makes a jump animation noise. But the last thing that it does is the little barcodes that are on various characters. Let me see, if I put it inside of the pipe, it starts playing the Mario music. There's a countdown that's actually on his chest that's running right now. But if I put him on top of the Goomba, so that's the same noise it makes whenever he stomps. The question mark block is a little different. Of course, you're used to jumping from under those. But if he stomps on it, okay, then that does roulette to decide which item he's going to get. Of course, for Yoshi, and it doesn't matter what orientation you put these on. So you might have heard the Yoshi noise. Last two is, of course, actually there's three. There's a flag. Let's see, there is when you're fighting Bowser, or Bowser Jr. So when it was sitting on there, it was playing the music that you associate with being inside the castles. So there's actually two more barcodes here. One is Bowser Jr. has a barcode that's on his back, so if Mario stomps on it a few times, then it acts as though you've defeated him. And let's see, there's a barcode that's inside the clown car. What does it do? Okay, okay, not much there. It just plays a little, I don't know how to describe that, not quite a chirp. But okay, so now this makes sense. So if a kid is playing with this, they'd probably build out their own level in Mario, own Mario level using the pieces, and then it will react to them. So that's what Mario does. There's also electronic versions of Luigi and Peach. I do not know what those do because I don't have those, but I think I'm going to try and get my hands on Luigi, which I expect to be the same thing, only with Luigi's voice. And I'm going to see if I can get my hands on a princess too. But for the most part, I think this is an interesting application of Legos and electronics mixed together. Looking around in the app, the most important function that it does is it lets you update Mario. Why would you want to do that? Basically, as they come up with new experiences and new barcodes and pieces come out, this is how to ensure that Mario has whatever interactions are necessary so they can continue to update this into the future. Beyond that, the application also shows you a catalog of all of the other Lego sets that are available. If you need to get instructions on how to put them together, you could do that from within there. It does have a camera within the app that you could use for taking a picture of your Lego pieces. But other than a firmware update, I didn't see that the app was really necessary. It does show you some of the other basic interactions. One of the things I thought was missing is I could not hear any sound through the app. And it would have been nice if that were there because I think sound is an essential element of the interactions that this provides. So Mario's holding the microphone now. Let's sit him down in the park.
Here we go! Oh yeah!
Okay, I want to make a comment that I didn't realize until I looked over on my video monitor. For you that are looking at this through the video screen, you can make out the light flashing underneath Mario that's used for reading the barcodes. Using this in real life, I do not perceive that flash. That is something that the camera is picking up, but I can't pick that up with the naked eye. I mean, you can, looking underneath, I can see what the lights are, but they don't appear to be doing any type of blinking to me.